Hi everyone! I haven't made crochet hats in quite a long time, and when thinking of different ideas for the fall, I kept thinking of crochet hat ideas, so I just decided to make a video exclusively for that. I have 3 different tutorials in this video, including 2 versions of this one that I'm wearing now, and I really love how they all came out, so hopefully you guys enjoy it. With all that said, let's go ahead and get started. The first tutorial I have for you is for a Newsboy cap. This one and this one. So there's 2 different versions, as you can see. This one is made with half double crochet and is more fitted, and this one is made with double crochet if you're looking for a more relaxed fit. So let's go ahead and get started with the tutorial. There's 4 sections of the Newsboy cap that brings it all together. The first is the top section, which is filled with increases to bring it to your specific sizing. The second is the middle section filled with decreases to make it slightly poofy. The third is the bottom section, which gives the hat depth, and the 4th section is the brim. To start the Newsboy cap, you're first going to create a slip knot and chain 4. Slip stitch into the first chain, which joins it in the round, then chain 2. The chain 2 does not count as a stitch. In the middle gap, add 10 double crochets. If you're doing the half double crochet version, add 10 half double crochets. At the end, pull the tail in the back to close the gap in the middle. Then slip stitch into the first stitch of the row, which should be where the chain 2 is. Then chain 2. If you're making the half double crochet version, just chain 1 before each row. In the second row, you're going to add an increase into every stitch. So for the double crochet version, add 2 double crochets into each stitch. For the half double crochet version, add 2 half double crochets into every stitch. At the end, there's a stitch where the chain is. Make sure to not work into that stitch or it'll mess up the entire pattern. So instead, just slip stitch into the first stitch of the row, then chain 2. For row 3, you're going to work an increase into every other stitch. So for the first stitch, work 1 normal double crochet or half double crochet. In the second stitch, add an increase. Then repeat this pattern for the entire row. At the end of the row, slip stitch into the first stitch of the row, then chain 2. For row 4, you're going to work an increase into every 3rd stitch. So for the first 2 stitches, work 1 double crochet or half double crochet into each. In the 3rd stitch, add an increase. Then repeat this pattern for the entire row. Here are the patterns for the rest of the increases for the double crochet version and the half double crochet version. You're going to work each row with these increases until the top of the hat reaches your desired diameter. For reference, the double crochet hat is 10.5 inches, and I did 11 rows of increases, and the half double crochet version is 9.5 inches, and I did 13 rows of increases. On the last increase row, slip stitch into the first stitch of the row, then chain 2. After the row of increases, you're going to start your decrease rows. You're then going to work normal double crochets or half double crochets into each stitch until the 7th stitch. In the 8th and 9th stitch, you're going to add a decrease, which is just working into both of the stitches at the same time. For the double crochet decrease, you're first going to yarn over, insert your hook into the 8th stitch, yarn over and pull through. Then yarn over, insert your hook into the 9th stitch, yarn over and pull through. Then yarn over and pull through 4 stitches, and then yarn over and pull through the last 2 stitches. For the half double decrease, you yarn over, insert your hook into the 8th stitch, yarn over, and pull through. Then insert your hook into the 9th stitch, yarn over, and pull through. Then yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. You're going to do these decreases into every 8th and 9th stitch around the entire row. At the end of the row, slip stitch into the 1st stitch, then chain 2. Here's the pattern of decreases you'll have to do for each hat. For both hats, that's a total of 4 rows of decreasing. At the end of the last decrease row, slip stitch into the 1st stitch of the row. For the next 4 rows, all you'll do is work single crochets into every stitch around each row. At the end of the 4th single crochet row, slip stitch into the 1st stitch of the row, chain 1, cut the yarn, and pull to secure. To make the brim for the hat, I recommend putting it on and using stitch markers to mark where you want the brim to be. For the double crochet hat, I made it so there's 16 stitches from stitch marker to stitch marker. For the half double crochet hat, I made it so that there's 20 stitches from each stitch marker. In the first stitch marker stitch, in the front loop only, attach your yarn and chain 1. Then work down into each stitch with 1 single crochet until you reach the stitch marker stitch. At the stitch marker stitch, chain 1 and turn your work. You're going to work 2 more rows of single crochet. After the 2 rows, chain 1 and turn your work. In this 4th row, you're going to add a decrease into the first 2 stitches. So insert your hook into the 1st stitch, yarn over, and pull through. Then insert your hook into the 2nd stitch, yarn over, and pull through. Then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Then work normal single crochets into each stitch until you reach the last 2 stitches. Once you reach the last 2 stitches, work a decrease into them. Then chain 1 and turn your work. On row 5, you're going to work normal single crochets with no decreases. At the end of the row, chain 1 and turn your work. On row 6, you're going to work decreases into the first 2 stitches, then work the row normally until the last 2 stitches. Work a decrease into the last 2 stitches, then chain 1 and turn your work. Repeat this for row 7. At the end of row 7, you're going to work single crochets around the entire hat to make everything look neater. Once you reach back to the side of the brim, slip stitch into the first stitch, chain 1, cut the yarn, and pull to secure. For the half double crochet hat, I added extra details that's optional, but I really think it makes the hat cuter. To make this little rim on the hat, first create a slip knot with your yarn and chain 20. Then work 1 row of double crochets. At the end of the row, chain 1, cut the yarn and pull to secure. Then take a tapestry needle and sew the tails into the hat right where the single crochet section of the hat is. You can cut an extra piece of yarn out to sew the other side down as well. After that, take 2 1-inch buttons and sew them onto the sides of the double crochet rim we just did to make it pop. Once that's done, the hat is complete. So yeah, this is how the hat came out to look like. I love this hat. It's probably my favorite in the entire video. I love how it just fits so good, and there's so many really cute fall outfits that it can go with. I was really happy about the buttons. Like, I wasn't gonna do them at first, but then I just had like a button next to me and I was like, what if I did this? And I put it on. I was like, oh yeah, I have to sew these on. These are really cute. If you are someone who wants the brim to be more like specifically like sitting straight and not moving, I would suggest you cut like a little cardboard and put it, like shape it to the exact size of the brim and then put it underneath. And then you can make another brim like the way you did this one, but just do it in the back loops. Since we did this in the front loop, just do another one in the back loop. Put the cardboard on the inside in between this one and the second one, and then you can crochet around it to close it, and then that way it'll stay straight. Like, I was thinking about doing that, but I don't have cardboard right now, so I didn't do it. But if you want to do that, I think it would look really cute. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna be wearing this a lot during the fall time. I'm actually very, very happy about it. Here is the second version of the Newsboy cap. This one is if you want a more relaxed fit, and also if you want to be able to like change how the hat looks, because like all you have to do is just move it to a certain position and it will have like a different style each time. Like, this is what it looks like if it's put to the back, to the side, the front, and then the other side. So I think it's like really, really cute and versatile, and I think it looks really good if you have braids, and I really like it. And yeah, that was the Newsboy's cap. To create the tassel beanie, you're first going to create a slip knot and chain 4. Slip stitch into the first stitch, which joins it in the round, and then chain 2. The chain 2 doesn't count as a stitch. In the middle gap, add 10 double crochets. At the end, pull the tail in the back to close the gap in the middle. Then insert your hook into the first stitch of the row, which should be where the chain 2 is. Then attach your next color and chain 2. For row 2, you're going to work an increase into every stitch. So for the first stitch, add 2 double crochets. Then repeat this for the entire row. At the end, there's a stitch where the chain is. Make sure to not work into that stitch or it'll mess the pattern up. So instead, just insert your hook into the first stitch of the row, attach your color, then chain 2. For row 3, you're going to increase into every other stitch. So for the first stitch, work 1 normal double crochet. In the second stitch, add an increase. Then repeat this pattern for the entire row. At the end of the row, attach your next color into the first stitch of the row, then chain 2. For row 4, you're going to work an increase into every third stitch. So for the first 2 stitches, work 1 double crochet into each. In the third stitch, add an increase. Then repeat this pattern for the entire row. By the way, I used the wrong color in this part, but I fixed it later on if you noticed it. For rows 5, 6, and 7, you're going to work normal double crochets into each stitch with no increases. At the end of the 7th row, slip stitch into the first stitch, chain 1, cut the yarn, and pull to secure. Try on your beanie to make sure it fits comfortably around your head. If it's too tight, add more rows, or take a row or 2 out if it's too loose. Then take 4 stitch markers and mark where you want the ear flaps to be. For my hat, there's 10 stitches in between each stitch marker on the sides for the ear flaps. For each ear flap, you're first going to attach your yarn into the first stitch marker stitch, then chain 1. Then you're going to work half double crochets into each stitch until the second stitch marker. After finishing your half double crochet in the stitch marker stitch, chain 1 and turn your work. For the second row, work another half double crochet row. At the end of the row, chain 1 and turn your work. For row 3, skip the first stitch, then work the row normally until the last 2 stitches. In the last 2 stitches, work a half double crochet decrease. Then chain 1 and turn your work. Here is the full pattern for the ear flaps. We just did rows 1 through 3, so next is a normal row of half double crochets. Then after, you alternate between a decrease row and a normal row. And then in rows 8, 9, and 10, you work decrease rows. At the end of row 10, chain 1, cut the yarn, and pull to secure. After both flaps are done, attach your ear flap yarn to any stitch on the brim of the hat. Chain 1 and work single crochets around the entire hat to make it look neater. Once you reach the start of the row, slip stitch into the first stitch, chain 1, cut the yarn, and pull to secure. To make the tassels for each of the ear flaps, take 1 long strand of each color used, and use your hook to pull a loop of the yarn through the bottom of the ear flap. Then all you're going to do is braid down until it's at a length you desire. Once you reach your desired length, tie a knot at the base of the braid, and your tassel hat is complete. The last time I made a hat like this, I think it was for my Valentine's video, but it was like a cat beanie. And so I wanted to do one where it's just crocheting in the round and then the little ear flaps, and I think it turned out really cute. It's perfect for fall, and if it does get chilly, all you gotta do is just use your little tassels to keep your ears warm and you're good to go. I think it's really, really cute also. And if you want it to be like longer, you could add more rows, you can make the flaps longer, you can make the tassels longer. It's very versatile. And like if you want to make a cat beanie version, you can just make a normal cat beanie with whatever pattern you like, and then just add the flaps to the ears and then the tassels, and you're good to go. To create the fox ear warmer, first create a slip knot, then chain 8. For the first row, work double crochets into each stitch. You should have 7 stitches in the row. At the end of the row, chain 2 and turn your work. For row 2, you're going to add an increase into the first stitch. Then work the row normally until the last stitch. There, you're going to add another increase. After, chain 2 and turn your work. For row 3 and 4, you're going to repeat working an increase into the first stitch. Then work the row normally until the last stitch. In the last stitch, work an increase, chain 2 and turn your work. At the end of row 4, you should have 13 stitches in total. For rows 5 to 18, you're going to work normal double crochets into each stitch with no increases. For rows 19 through 22, you're going to decrease into the first 2 stitches, then work the row normally until the last 2 stitches. In the last 2 stitches, add a decrease. Then chain 2 and turn your work. For row 23, you're going to work 1 row of normal double crochets with no decreases. At the end of row 23, you should have 7 stitches. Chain 1. You're now going to work single crochets around the entire panel. At the end of the row, slip stitch into the first stitch of the row, then chain 2. For row 24, you're going to work front and back post double crochets. To do this, first yarn over and insert your hook into the front right side of the single crochet, then come through the front left side of the single crochet. Then yarn over and pull through the back of the single crochet, then finish the double crochet like normal. That is a front post double crochet. To do the back post, yarn over and insert your hook into the back right side of the next single crochet. Then go through the front left side of the single crochet. Yarn over and pull through, then finish your double crochet like normal. That's a back post double crochet. You're going to repeat doing 1 front post double crochet, and then 1 back post double crochet for the entire row. At the end of the row, chain 1, cut the yarn, and pull to secure. To make the ears, first create a slip knot and chain 7. For the first row, work normal single crochets into each stitch. At the end of the row, chain 1 and turn your work. You're gonna work 2 more rows of normal single crochets. I accidentally only did 2 rows of single crochet in the video, but make sure you do 3 rows of single crochet. At the end of the third row, chain 1 and turn your work. For row 4, you're gonna add a decrease into the first 2 stitches. Then work down normally into the last 2 stitches. In the last 2 stitches, work a decrease. Then chain 1 and turn your work. For row 5, work the row with normal single crochets with no decreases. At the end of the row, chain 1 and turn your work. For row 6, you're going to work a decrease into the first 2 stitches. Add 1 normal single crochet in the next stitch, then decrease in the last 2 stitches. Chain 1 and turn your work. For row 7, decrease into the first 2 stitches, then in the last stitch, work a normal single crochet. For row 8, work a decrease into the last 2 stitches. Then instead of chaining, attach your orange yarn. With the orange, you're going to work 1 row of single crochets around the border of the ear. At the end of the row, slip stitch into the first stitch, chain 1, cut the yarn and pull to secure. Once the ears are complete, you can try on the headband and use stitch markers to mark where you want the ears to go. Once you figure that out, use your orange yarn and tapestry needle to sew the ears onto the top of the headband by working in and out of the headband. To make the tassels, take your orange yarn and combine it with brown yarn if you want to, and use your hook to pull the loop of the strands through the sides of the ear sections. I attached 3 strands into 2 different spaces on each side of the ears to make the tassels more bulky. Once they're attached, braid all the strands together until it's at a length you desire. Once you reach your desired length, create a knot at the base of the braid, and then your fox ear warmers are complete. Here is the results of the fox headband. I don't know if I should call it a headband, a bonnet, an ear warmer. It does cover your ears, so I might just call it an ear warmer. But yeah, this is the fox ear warmer. I think this is perfect for fall time. The color is beautiful. It fits the theme and I just love it. I love the tassels. You don't have to mix in the brown with it, but if you want to, you can. If you want to, you can add like a little bit of brown to the ear to make it a little bit more realistic, but that's really up to you. I personally didn't, just because it was just easier to keep going with the orange. But yeah, this is what it looks like. I really like it and it's really cute. If for whatever reason the ears like fall down like this or something, you could pretend to be sad, or you can just like pick it up and just stretch them out a little bit and they should stay pointing out just fine. But thank you so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments which one is your favorite, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!